Hey guys, Logan Nobles here. I wanted to do a part 2 update on the electric moped that I've been planning to build and finally got my hands on. Now things are actually going forward at a pretty good rate. I'm making progress and I'm excited to share it. So this is a little update video. It's not done yet, but it's getting close. So this is the frame we have, just happily sitting in the rain. It's really dumb of me, but so far so good. I just worked on this yesterday. I added a 12-volt fog light that I'll be running off a small, actually the original moped battery, which is only like 6 inches wide. We still have the original front brake, although it's lost some hydraulic fluid while I had this upside down, so I'm going to fill that back up. I hope there's not a leak anywhere, because it was perfect when I bought this. We still have the back disc brake as well, which is just a mechanical cable. You can see it running down there, and I'm gonna try to find a way to hook that up to work with this wheel that I bought. So you can see my messy welding job here. Originally this had suspension in the back, however the whole engine was basically the entire swing arm, and I didn't feel like fabricating another swing arm, so I decided to make this a hardtail moped. And since this will mostly be for fun and tricks anyway, even though it can take it on the street, which we'll get to, a hardtail should be a lot more fun in general for wheelies and just, better control and handling. It should make it a little bit more sensitive and just a lot more fun. Maybe not as safe, but definitely more fun. Power Sports, it's got a pretty good speed rating. I put it on a 2-seater go-kart before that went about 40 miles per hour, and it did wonderfully. And it has a size 41, I believe this is a 48 tooth sprocket. But we're going to use that and somehow adapt this to the electric motor that I bought, which I'll show you in a minute. So what's left as far as my crappy welding job goes, well, at least this is a strong welding job. I have jumped on this thing. It is solid. We're going to add a piece of threaded rod right in between here, make sure it's straight, welded on, and that will be what holds this wheel in place. Then we will run the chain to the motor, mount the motor up in here somewhere, and then we'll build another battery. At least the electronics, maybe a large battery I'm going to build inside of the seat, so it's out of the way and is in a pretty good location overall. Although it would probably be best to have the battery lower, like down here, just to keep the center of gravity low to the ground. Right, let's check out the motor we'll be using. It's right here. This is a 72 volt, 3000 watt BLDC motor that I ordered from AliExpress straight from China. Came with a controller, and then I also bought a twist throttle that has a voltage readout and allows you to use a key to lock the whole thing. I need to take this off and replace it with that 41 type sprocket for this motor, and then we can actually link this whole setup together with 41 tooth or 41 number 41 chain. But yeah, we're going to replace the sprocket, mount this motor, mount this controller, put this on the handlebar, and build a battery. So talking about batteries, I had already built a battery for this moped. However, it was the first battery I've ever built, and I used cheap Chinese cells. Sorry, it was getting really hot. So I built one. It was 72 volts, 10 amp hours, worked great. However, I had some issues with the BMS that I had put inside that battery. It wasn't charging everything perfectly. I think it was just a low quality BMS. So I'm gonna start from the ground up and build a much larger, safer battery. Made a video on these cells I called Tesla cells for 50 cents, but they're just 18650 cells. They're not from a Tesla. They're just the same type as what's used in Teslas. Now, I bought 100 of these for about roughly $100. So I have 100 of these just sitting here, and I'm gonna start building electric bike batteries to make profit, but I feel like I should use better cells than that, just because of capacity. So I sold that 72 volt battery on eBay for a 3 times profit. So now that I'm learning how to build these batteries, it should become a little business for me to kind of invest more money back into these projects and putting on YouTube. I'm just waiting on a spot welder and a few different parts to come in the mail before I can start producing them and selling them on eBay for at least double my money, which is pretty exciting. I'm also going to be sharing the entire process with you on how to build your own batteries for electric bikes and electric vehicles out of these little cells, because all you do is weld them together in rows. It's fairly simple. It takes a couple hours to build one, but it's fairly simple. But anyway, what I decided is that I'm gonna buy higher quality cells than even these. Now, these are LG cells, but they're used, they're recycled, and they only have about 1 amp hour of capacity each. So I'm looking for some that are more like around 2 or 3 amp hours each, because that will cut the size and weight of my battery pack in half, which for this moped is pretty important. I don't want to spend a lot of money on brand new cells, but I feel like I can still get some higher quality ones that should work for a 72 volt battery pack that I'll need for this. So we're going to the hardware store. I'm just gonna get a 5/8 piece of threaded rod that I'll weld on, and also some black Rust-Oleum so that we can paint over any rust spots, keep everything covered up, and keep it from rusting, obviously. Should have one here. Alright, so we got some nuts, lock washers and washers, and a piece of threaded rod, and spray paint. And that's the end of this current portion of this vlog, because I have to go to work today. Alright, so just before I change for work, I did do a quick test fit, and this is really a rough fit, because look, the wheel is not even centered. But we can tell that the threaded rod will fit. I'm going to cut it to size, weld it in place, paint everything, clean everything, center this wheel, bolt it on. It looks good. It looks like it should work. The rear wheel is a bit smaller than the front, but so far so good. I think it will hold up, and it looks overall like I got the height right. It should work. I'm excited. Alright, so it's the next day and I've gotten a lot of work done on this moped. So I want to go over the chassis as it is now done, and I'm really excited to go on from here. This is working out way better than I even thought it would. This is our electric moped chassis. Electric moped chassis. Let me use English. We have 12 volt headlight currently on, using the original moped battery, which is glued / mounted there. Probably going to zip tie it just to make it safer. Everything has been painted, welded, and secured. Next, we still have to add the motor, controller, and battery, which we already have the motor and controller. I just need to build a battery. So part 3 will be installing the final drivetrain and testing it. So we just have a very simple V-shape here with a piece of threaded rod that I magically somehow welded straight. So we have a straight rear wheel. It is definitely a little bit smaller than the front, but it should be perfect and have a lot of torque. I just need to add a sprocket to our electric motor that will match this sprocket, if I didn't say that earlier. I'm sure I did. I have a lot of space under the seat where we can probably put some batteries and the controller for sure. I would like to put some batteries lower in the frame just to keep the center of gravity correct. I have a switch right here to run the headlight. So that's all in place. I might add an inverter to use the big battery to charge the little moped battery that will run any 12 volt accessories. And yeah, guys, it's really looking great. I'm super excited. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like this. Part 3 is coming up very soon. And I don't know if you're excited as I am, but it's going to be great.